I think the world's like really dark, and I think that laughter is something we can use to bring light to things, and it's kind of my angle on life. So do the best I can, talk about all sorts of things, and sometimes my own experiences, however horrific they might sound. And yeah, don't try to dwell too long. Gotta move on, look to the future. So, but yeah, instead of a heart chakra, I think the crappy reality most people are stuck in is more of a shart chakra. So there's a joke to start with. So, anyways, yeah, cheers to that. Mm. Ooh, bubbles. Oh yeah, so I guess COVID was a good pregame for the new Cold War, right? That's basically what it is. I think that like the whole thing in Ukraine's totally goofy. That like we're told we have to support our empire instead of the other one. Like it's just kind of ridiculous. If we care about people that are at war, I guess we would do them just as much service if we watched the Karate Kid movie like a lot of times and studied it like school. I guess that would be Ukraine. Oh. It's the best wordplay I've come up with so far about this, I guess. But yeah, if we're gonna fight something, I think we should be fighting like the monocrop system and all their nonsense. Some of the speakers before were talking about. I guess fight the plower. Yeah. I think it is a good bumper sticker. Yeah. Well, if you know a printer, like we need to connect me to someone because I write. I don't make stickers. I'll make sticker ideas, but that's what I stick with. Anyways, yeah. But the news is just crap. It's like rubbing poop in your third eye. You know, makes it more. You get like third pink eye. Makes it more of a turd eye. But yeah, I mean, like if you know enough, like if you read books, like it's the last thing they want you to do. Which I like reading books because it's harder for them to edit my books. They like, yeah, no, they're gonna make digital pages, and then you're gonna flip to the index, and it's gonna be like search result not found. Like, yeah, where's vaccine injuries in this book? No, yeah. But yeah, I guess if you read some books and like all crap they're trying to tell us, it would raise your third eyebrow. And then yeah, they call journalism that's like super rigged. You know, like William Randolph Hearst kind of coined it, yellow journalism. I don't know if that's like the right term. I think it's more of like a golden shower, pissing in print. And as far as like urinary jokes go for in pop culture and the media, is that like what P. Diddy does now? I don't know. Is that why he changed his name? He wanted to be like R. Kelly? I don't get it. There's this red little mite thing crawling on my page. He looks pretty cool. I don't know if it's a spider mite. I've never seen red ones. They're like fuzzy. I don't know what they are. But yeah, I don't really follow news, but something I would like be amused to hear is if MC Hammer died by nail gun. I mean, it's just be absurd. It's like, who's in charge now, bitch? And more on crappy music. When I was a kid, this is like one of my experiences that helped repel me from cancel culture. Or excuse me, pop culture. It's all the same, really now. Is New Kids on the Block. Like I had like my homegirls that I chilled with, and one of them I crushed on super hard. We play house, and like she'd be like, "Don't hug me too long. You can't kiss me." Like it was, it was cute. It was like back in the day stuff, right? Flirting and whatever. But then like the New Kids on the Block came out, and then all the girls were like obsessed with that, and like they didn't have time to like play kickball and do all this other stuff because they were in the New Kids cult. And I think all these boy bands are pretty gay. I mean, they say it. I think like bye bye bye, right? No. But yeah, I dissed her in pretty like foul language, and then my dad beat the hell out of me. That's how I could do a whole set on that night. It was horrific. Anyways, well, back some more on sexual preferences and gender. If Bruce Jenner like decided that he was Bruce Jenner again, like would that make him a transformer, or would he be a Decepticon? I don't know. I think he'd at least be a near miss. It's like when planes almost hit each other, but he was almost a miss. Yeah. Something's amiss with that joke didn't connect with your neural patterns. But I wouldn't like they just passed rules in San Diego saying that like you could just say you're any gender now, so that's weird. I'm thinking, maybe I want to experiment. Maybe I'm gonna decide I want to say I'm something else, and I'm interested. Like I don't know what the record books are gonna look like. I don't want to wrestle or anything, but I'm just curious if Guinness will put in that I have an 8-inch clit. I think that's a record, right? I don't know. I don't have service, so I'm not gonna look that up right now. Speaking of people pretending something they're not, I don't like it when I call for customer service and I have to talk to a computer and it acts like it's a human. It's just say, how can AI help you? It's full of shit. I've learned that if you just yell at it, you're a dumb computer cunt, fuck off, it will get you a human being. So, life hack. Another misapplication of technology. I wonder if Cupid is using our new technology. Does he have like unmanned aerial drones? Like crowds of people innocently falling in love. I don't know. Is that too dark? Speaking of heavy metal, they say it causes autism. I think that's ironic because a lot of the kids end up becoming headbangers. Hey, it's poetry in motion. Hurts their head more than mine or yours. Yeah, what we're doing to the planet and Mother Nature, I think, is exemplifies the behavior of retarded motherfuckers. That is not PC, but it is accurate. Has anybody heard about like all the plasticins and things, and how they make like sexual? This is actually, I think, one of the reasons why people are confused about their gender. Not because the media is like polluting their minds with all these weird ideas, but our water system is like messing up our hormones. Usually, the only problem I have with hormones is like my neighbors not liking my dates noises, but those are good hormones. But yeah, no, it's crazy. So the kids, like, they wear the flame-proof suits. Have you guys seen this stuff? I remember I used to have to wear it. It like had the socks built into it and stuff, and it had like the kind of like grippy tape looking stuff. I don't know what the hell that was called. But anyways, those are called flame retardants, which ironically are retarding our hormones and such. And a weird thing about that is, and it's like, all right, so if your kid, like, you leave your kid in a house so it's on fire, like, you're just gonna have like a toddler tamale. It's not gonna survive. Like, so it's kind of goofy in that sense. But yeah, so the American Cancer Society actually was stacked with multiple executives from the tobacco industry. So that shows how much they care about cancer. Red flag, anyone? And yeah, like, I'll say like crazy stuff about any group of people pretty much. And I mean, the only people I really have problems with are like, sometimes they call them the elite. I think that's too royal of a term, I like the word riggers. Damn riggers. They rigging everything. So they rigged the American Cancer Society, and that's a red flag. But yeah, the point is that like they tell us that we can't handle our shit, and they basically are giving us laxatives all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like Olestra was this magical fat back in the day. They said that your body won't absorb it. Yeah, it's because it just leaks right out of your asshole. You don't see a bunch of skinny people running around diapers, do you? And that shit is not on the shelf anymore. So our government gave us shit. And I think that's a lost art, is being able to handle your shit. I think that's what we're all talking about, right? Growing your own food. I made dirt out of my own doo-doo. I handled my shit. I had a tiny house for 2 years, a compost toilet. And I'm actually, does anybody have like any clue? Like, what would you do if you were on the side of the road and you had to take a dump? Do you have a shovel? Do you have a bucket? Do you have compostable bags? Are you ready to handle your shit at any time? I was like, no. It's a challenge to you personally. You can meditate on that one. Yeah. I got some for my dog, and then I got some for me, And I've actually used them back and forth, so that's happened. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. So anyways, yeah, they talk, all these like governmental authorities, they always talk about security, and it's really about insecurity. Like, they don't want us to handle our shit. They want to handle it for us because it's more money. I call it the nonsense economy. Whatever makes the least amount of sense for us makes the most dollars and cents for these dildos. Whereas I called them at a public meeting recently, diabolical dildos. I just came up with that day, you know. I write a lot of my material on the spot. Thanks for fixing the monitor. Oh, man. And then so one of the points about that is that, like Osama bin Laden, he was like, we should just call him Osama bin trained by the CIA. Like, they, like, taught him all this stuff when he was useful, and then, you know, and it's like, oh, now he's evil. Like, well, he was doing your bidding, and he was fine. So, the point is like, what we put money into, or, like, we collectively, like, in this ridiculous corporate nonsense empire we're stuck in. So I don't think some of us are doing it. But yeah, we're putting the funds in fundamentalism, basically. That's what they did in that case, by making religious extremists. The Pentagon, actually, I thought of a fun name for that. It's like kind of like a demonic church. Call it a place of worship. Is that accurate? No. I think they have mental problems, maybe some kind of speaking impediment. Maybe it's Tourette's syndrome, or Tourette's, I guess, would be a better pronunciation. Fun fact about the Taliban, who we're supposed to hate. Nobody even knows what Al-Qaeda is anymore. They know what ISIS is, but new people now, they're just like, they don't even know. It's like if people forgot who the Nazis were. Like, you don't know who Hitler's crew was? Like, no, I just know about the Aryans. Like, or what is it? We got the KKK. It's like if they remembered some down the line thing. But yeah, so the Taliban made $320 million in 2013 out of $3 billion in opium harvest. And I don't know about you, how analytical y'all are, but that's a pretty reasonable tax rate compared to what we deal with. 10%. 10% was how the revolution started. People pay like insane amounts, like a third of their shit. It's nuts. And obviously that's all scam, which we've heard about before. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty reasonable unless that 10% happens to be your head. So that's a possibility. It could backfire. Yeah. Oh, and then by the way, war, actually, the etymology of war is a state of confusion. So I think that's a good point to make. I was going to raise my hand. I didn't get that in edgewise earlier. So, but yeah, and then they say, what is it good for? Nothing but net profits is, I think, the more accurate way to put that song. Geronimo money. And actually what's messed up with that is they literally call the indigenous names of the people that were conquered here when they called Osama, I don't know, two criminals. They called Osama bin Laden Geronimo. That was his code name with the military communications. So they still call people, the indigenous people that were conquered, when we're supposed to be doing like Thanksgiving and all this other, you know, act like we're woke and all this nonsense language. It's a new version of going to sleep. That's like the double speak of that one. I love that. That's totally ridiculous. Be like, you're in the movie Inception. Be like, you're awake. Just because I say I'm awake doesn't mean I am. I'm still stuck in the nonsense dream. Those are some documentaries that are good, so if anybody wants to do any homework later. Bitter Lake, that one's about how the U.S. like made this weird treaty of sorts with the Saudis for oil in the 70s. Pretty crazy documentary. Adam Curtis, he also made another film called The Power of Nightmares, which shows how he put the funds in fundamentalism, as I said before. I'd like to like just cruise around and like broadcast these documentaries for free, you know, just give them to people. I'd call it, trip them out and call it Wi-Fi. Just mess up with their worldview. But yeah, so one of the things crazy about it is like that, getting back to the indigenous murdering, you know, it's like those were people that knew how to live in harmony with the land. Like actually growing your hair out long and being a crazy hippie, that like started actually back during colonialism in its earliest era. It's still going on now. We're just colonizing people's immune systems and assholes with 40-year-old exams. I don't know. Is that the thing, right? When you're 40? I just turned 40. I guess I'm supposed to have somebody spelunking up my butthole. Is it 50? I don't know. I decided it wasn't 40. Yeah, right. Well, if you're eating a bunch of crap, it's going to coalesce in your crapper already, so you're just like pre-crapping in your crapper. I don't know. It's just crazy. But yeah, so the idea that I have is like the last thing that the nonsense economy that I said makes, the dollars and cents instead of making sense. The last thing they need is somebody that knows how to live in harmony with the land. And I think that's exactly what we need, obviously, because we need a good engine mechanic. Oh. Some people would want to cancel me for that term. I don't know. But anyways, it's good wordplay. I play with words like blocks, not engines. I don't know. But yeah, the thing that's messed up is that, apparently they weren't able to survive because, the power that they were dealing with was just too great. And, but unfortunately, I guess you could say they were too aerodynamic to deal with colonialism. So yeah, the point is that demonizing indigenous people and murdering them all, and then anybody that resembles kind of like any shred of that kind of culture is considered like a demon. And was it, they say you're like a tree hugger, right? I'm like, I don't know. That's kind of crazy. I was like, if I'm going to idolize anything, I guess I'd put the tree in idolatry because I want to worship nature, And by the way, too, like, being against all the vaccine mandates and stuff, I've used this one before, but some of you might not have heard it, is they'll say, you're an anti-vaxxer. And I'm like, no, I like natural bush. You can just say I'm an anti-vaxxer. I want my immune systems, and actually that protects the realm of the vicinity of the heritage and such. I don't know. So yeah, I would like to come up with some other words, that kind of demonize the nonsense economy, like soldiers or whatever. So, instead of loggers, maybe we could just call them like lumberjack offs. I think we were talking about the deforestation near power lines. That's just totally insane. I haven't been up north in a while, so that's disturbing. So the only plants, I guess, that they want is factories, really. That's why they want to stick us all in the cities. Put us on the path to, what's it, Soil and Green? Has everybody seen that? That movie's messed up. They've basically been doing that because they take, like, the COVID dead and other stuff, and they're depositing people and recycling them in the nitrogen and putting them in marshes. And then the marshes can be used to irrigate to land. So we pretty much have Soil and Green is, like, operational in a respect. We're not full-blown, like, cracked out on it, but I think it's pretty much happening, so that's disturbing. I saw a funny, speaking of just the abominations of nature, I was in Jimbo's today in Escondido grabbing this beer, and I saw a lady, and she was just so poetically classic to me. She was wearing an NPR shirt, and she had a mask on, which I was like, not surprised at all by that, but I just think it's the most fitting epitome of this caricature of humans that we have now. It's like the only fresh air she has is on the radio. Pretty messed up. She has a fixation on asphyxiation, or the Fauci fever, I guess you could say. All right, well, that's where my set list ended, so I gotta kind of grab loose notes now. I mean, I could just riff, but I did have some other stuff I wanted to like throw in here, see what I could pick out. Yeah, so the way they're milking this pandemic, I don't know if that's a dairy equivalent, but I am very intolerant of how much they keep milking this shit. They're never going to give up. Now they're just like saying that kids you can't get a credit card, but you can take Fauci's prick. I don't know. It makes no sense at all. What else we got? Oh, so they were trying to invade our immune systems in the 90s. That's another thing that that I dealt with. I was a gifted student, so when I actually went to gifted schools, it was way different than the public schools, but I would get in trouble because I would just learn things. Like, they tell me something, I'm like, all right, got it, let's keep it going. What do you got next? But I had to wait for, like 20-something other people. Class sizes should be like 12, so that's like a whole nother thing. John Taylor Gatto writes a lot about that. He's like the homeschool hero. So that was just upsetting. But instead of, teaching me more, giving me a challenge, they were just like, we need to just medicate him and shut him up. So he'll just sit there and wait for the rest of the people to be taught how to be stupid worker bees. So yeah, I think it's interesting because the way we treat animals is the way we treat ourselves. And so we're living in an unhealthy environment. And just like the animals, they forcibly medicate them because they're just prone to disease. And we have mental and physical versions of that. Like these people that go nuts and like shoot everybody. You know the documentary Blackfish? Has anybody seen that? That documentary's crazy. It just shows how like nuts these animals in confinement go. And then they murder their trainer people. And it's just like, I feel like that these shooter people are kind of like enacting a similar behavior. Like they're living in a confined system, even though we're like all like around each other. I mean, we're so isolated and they're just losing their minds. And if you can't even get like mental health. Like I was just trying to get a letter for my service dog for same stuff I have like my 215 for and whatever. And when I was trying to get that figured out, I tried to go through I have healthcare, and I was like, yeah, can I talk to somebody? And they're like, are you gonna hurt yourself or hurt other people? And I'm like, no, I just want a note from my dog, so I don't want to hurt other people or myself. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not like saying I'd want to do any of that shit, but the dog is helpful and he's better than the medication they tried to put me on back in the day. So yeah, that's it. So if you want to like get mental help, you just basically have to say you're suicidal or homicidal. I don't know. So no wonder people are losing their fucking minds. It's just totally insane. I'm just going to kind of rant now. I don't know how long I have to do this. We got the sound bath at 10. What time is it? I don't know. I just want to know what's going on. Usually I have more than enough material, and then now because we had no shows, I'm like, oh no.
You have 40 minutes.
All right, I got it. So I was saying that I just turned 40, and so I had some stuff, I guess, about that, and just like life and reflecting. Yeah, so I had one STD. I don't know what the statistics are on that, but I was like, I feel like that's not that bad. I mean, I've heard worse from a lot of people, and I've been really careful. I was in a relationship, and she cheated, so it's not like I asked for it. But it's just weird because, like, we have the COVID-19, and they don't call it the Wuhan virus, because they're supposed to call a virus, like, where something came from, like Ebola, and no one's canceling that. So if that was true, then I guess I should be calling chlamydia the Tiffany virus. Oh. So that's one of my highlights in life. I've had some like really horrific roommates, and I had this one roommate, and she was a mess. She was like more scatterbrained than JFK. She could not focus. There was just shit all over the place, and she had the nerve one day. Oh, and by the way, she's one of those people that has like dietary preference. That, I don't know. Some people do, some people don't, but you know. There is a medical version, so I'm a little critical. Because some people it's just like marketed to, and they just think like that's gonna fix. But yeah, the gluten thing. So I call her like a gluten freedom fighter. But yeah, she just made me realize I was intolerant of her. Because yeah, she was just like super annoying about it. So one day I was making bread, I was making curry, and I made a flatbread, and there's like flour on the counter. She was like freaking out, like I might have an adverse reaction. I was like, I'm averse to your mess all the time, first of all, but I don't say anything. Like one time she exploded a bag of spinach, like just being crazy, and then just spaced out, wandered away, and did something else. And it's just like there's just shit all over the place in the kitchen. Like it was just weird. So her freaking out about that was like odd because of that. But on top of it, she would stay up all night doing blow and drinking tequila, like a handle to the dome with her partner, and then not sleeping all night. So I was like, well, that's a weird place if you care about your health to draw the line. Wrong white powder, I guess. Yeah. And then on top of that, though, like I found out more stuff about her health, though. She didn't really take care of herself. On top of that, she told my girlfriend I was living with that she left her tampon in for a full cycle. And I was like, damn. I was like, well, if you care about your health, you got to pull some strings. I've actually done that once. Yeah, it was part of a bet, and she had her side and I had mine, and so I got to pull the string. I was like, just like a vintage thing, you know, just like I could say I did it. So that was fun. Well, then I got her to use that Diva Cup thing, and then I actually got to smell the difference in the blood. So that was kind of pretty. What guy has that experience, you know? I think I'm pretty far on the fringe of existence now. I don't know. It was vintage. What else we got here? Back on like I think technology is insane. Like San Onofre is like not far from here, right? I don't know how far is it. Is it like 40 miles? Or you guys?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah, there's a crow flies. Nuclear power is just like the most insane thing because just like catastrophic effects it could have. And I remember I actually went on a tour.
You say it's 40 miles as the.
Is it shut down? Okay, that's what I want to know about.
It's 40 miles as the radio.
Yeah, there's still stuff. Yeah. One that's like for 250,000 years, basically, the stuff's volatile, and it's like
it's shut down. It's not active, but it's still still.
Yeah, they still got
Your
stuff,
pod,
though.
They still have to keep it all cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a full crew. of
Yeah.
people still working.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. We've had one in Humboldt, and they tried to run it, and it was
Offline.
they went offline and they just decommissioned it and they finally finished. But they like lost some fuel rods, which I was like, how do you lose a fuel rod? So that's like some Homer Simpson shit that happened up in Humboldt. Yeah.
Have you heard of the Santa Susana Field Lab
No.
in LA?
No.
You might be able to
I
pull
thought-
some crazy jokes from that.
Okay, because I know that like it's supposed to be theoretical, and the Lawrence Livermore was supposed to be like take nukes off of the like reality and put them into cyberspace. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but yeah, they still do it.
There's a reactor, and it's like just like north of Topanga Canyon area up there. Santa Susana. They had a reactor that never had a dome on top of it.
Oh my god,
So there's
I think I've heard about
They
that.
would aerate it and like they
Ugh.
would just release
All of LA is just completely.
all the ground.
Yeah, that's like medieval shit where they would like dump their chamber pots out the window onto the street. That's like insane.
And they had multiple meltdowns that they covered up and pretended like never happened. And,
Yeah, nothing to see here, folks.
Now they acknowledge that
yeah, but
Yeah, because they only do it once you like twist their arm. Then they're like, all right, yeah, that happened.
sorry about that.
we got.
Yeah, where's the cancel culture for the nuclear power industry? Has anybody here heard of Karen Silkwood? She was a whistleblower, and I think Meryl Streep played her in a movie. And yeah, she was murdered, pretty apparently, in some like sketchy car crash, and all of her documents disappeared, which is like, get the hell out of here. So she was a whistleblower, and that's what happened. Nuclear industry, it's all scary. I mean, it's like the New World Order is. They got their affairs in order, I guess you could say. that's their order part of things. So we need to figure out how to like create chaos within their control system. I don't know. It's too many drones. I mean, yeah, we have unmanned aerial drones in flesh and blood, basically. Like, I do what Fauci tells me.
Is he still around?
I don't like saying I can't wait for someone to be gone, because then there's just gonna be somebody else after. I don't know. Yeah, so it's mixed. I don't think it's healthy to like wish people dead, and then it's
I think they'll use a woman for the next time.
no. They might have a like some kind of robot transsexual. I don't know. Unicorn. Couple minutes. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna get the sound bath ready. Okay. Bailing me out.
It's an early night tonight, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Get to the fire pit though. It's good. I think everyone's hit your
I'll just throw a few more jokes out here. Yeah, so the whole thing, well, since we're talking about Fauci, I think it's just crazy. And then Bill Gates is like, we want to limit the population. Like, hey, take this random concoction that's like untested, basically. It's nuts. I trust him about as much as I would another asshole in a sweater, Bill Cosby. I put the cock in concoction, I guess. And isn't it weird too that the Johnson & Johnson was only one shot? I thought that would be 2 pricks. That's just tricky. And then, they say you gotta take the vaccine if you care about the healthcare workers. And first of all, most of them look like shit, unfortunately. So they're unhealthy as fuck. They're like nursing a hangover and like a beer gut. I don't know. They look like crap. So that's unfortunate. But if we did care about the healthcare workers, we would lighten up, because there's an obesity epidemic. Most of the people go in the hospital. 1 in 6 people die of heart disease. Fun side effect of heart disease is erectile dysfunction. That's your body telling you it's not fucking around. And so, yeah, we would lose some weight, because that healthcare worker who has to move somebody into a stretcher, they might not smoke weed, but they could still throw their back out trying to roll a fatty. So, and then I think 1/2 of all healthcare spending is unnecessary. So off the top there, that's just like insane. And let's see, is iatrogenic illness, which I guess is like Latin for oops, my bad. They're just killing people all the time with bad prescriptions and stuff. That's another fun statistic, is 1/3 of all drugs get recalled. And I actually had a joke too about the masks and stuff. The masks are weird, like they inhibit people from breathing properly, and even if they don't understand it, it's like a cigarette, like you don't die from oxygen deprivation. You don't die like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Total Recall, like your eyes popping out of your head. But so the point was about the 1/3 recall of all so-called approved drugs is that it's not a total recall. So that was a callback if I had that joke in there earlier. I like tying them together anyways. However sloppily is done. So yeah, point is that the medical system eats dicks like Jeffrey Dahmer. He did it. I didn't do it. I'm not going to try that. That won't be one of my things to get in the record books for. And then I'll just say something, I guess, about medication real quick with Fauci. He suppressed the access to like life-saving drugs during the AIDS epidemic, and so now he's like done the same thing with ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, so they could like promote toxic, unsafe drugs, which is remdesivir. And healthcare workers that are like not completely retarded, they call it "run, death is near." So that shows how greatly they think about it. But yeah, there's a documentary called The Dallas Buyers Club where they had to like run this crazy racket to get the drugs in the country from like Mexico. And no, it practically is. Matthew McConaughey though, it's like there probably is a documentary. But yeah, it's just crazy that like all these like gay people who are dying and Fauci didn't give a shit and he cut off their access to these because he wouldn't give them health care coverage. He wouldn't even acknowledge them as usable drugs. Same shit, different disease or whatever. And but yeah, it's just the way I would sum the whole thing up is like all these poor gay people were like, whose dick do I gotta suck to get the drugs I need? That's totally ridiculous. All right. Well, I guess this is good enough place to leave. Oh, I forgot to say too about the San Onofre because we got into that random conversation. And I'd love if you played the drum when I spin Fire Layer because that'd be cool. Is that those are some titties? Those are some titties I don't want to see jiggle. Yeah. All right. Hope I didn't bomb like U.S. foreign policy, but I'm Jason Robo, and that's stuff I talk about. You guys have a good night. Take care of yourself. Don't let the mafia do it. They take care of you.
Did you know San Onofre's